When was the last time you asked God a question and secretly hoped He wouldn't answer it? Not because you were afraid of Him, but because you were afraid of what the answers would cost. See, most women think the hardest prayer they'll ever pray is, "Please God, bring him back." Truth is, it isn't. The hardest prayer is the one that comes after you've cried until there are no tears left. God, if he isn't meant for me, don't let me love what you never intended for me to keep. That prayer right there, it changes everything. Because once you pray it, you stop fighting God and you start fighting the illusion. Heartbreak has a strange way of making God feel silent, like he's not even there. You replay conversations, you reread old text messages, you even start to bargain with heaven. If I become better, if I pray harder, if I just wait long enough, maybe this will somehow make sense. But while you're asking God to explain the pain, he's asking you a much different question. Why are you grieving something that was slowly destroying your peace? That's not punishment, that's perspective. Sometimes we become so emotionally attached to the picture we've painted that we've stopped noticing the cracks in the canvas. We don't miss reality. We miss a version of reality we invented, the future we imagined, the family we named before it even existed, the life we rehearsed in our heads. And when it all falls apart, it feels like God literally took everything. But maybe he only removed the story you were writing without him. That doesn't make the pain disappear. It just gives it purpose. Because faith isn't believing that God will give you everything you ask for. Faith is believing he can still be trusted after he says no. And that's the part people rarely talk about. It's easy to praise God when the doors are opening. It's much harder when he closes one that your whole heart was standing behind. Especially when you just don't understand why. Especially when you were loyal. Especially when you prayed. Especially when you tried so hard. You start wondering if God forgot about you. He didn't. But sometimes his protection feels exactly like rejection. And no, it's not because he's trying to hurt you, but because he's trying to keep you from building your life on something that couldn't carry its own weight. There are relationships that ask you to ignore your intuition, to explain away the constant disrespect, to normalize inconsistencies, to carry the emotional weight for two people. And little by little, you stop recognizing yourself. You call it patience. God calls it surrendering too much of yourself. Love was never supposed to cost you your identity. And God was never asking you to stay somewhere that required you to lose it. And you know what? Maybe that's why you're here. Not because you failed, not because you weren't enough, but because somewhere along the way, you started believing that if you loved harder, the outcome would change. Love doesn't transform someone who refuses to change. It only exhausts the person doing all the giving. And eventually, God lets the truth become louder than your hope. Not to embarrass you, but to free you. There comes a moment when you stop asking God, why did this happen to me? And you start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Those are two completely different lives. One keeps you trapped in yesterday, the other slowly introduces you to tomorrow. Healing doesn't happen because time passes. Healing happens because truth finally becomes more comforting than denial. You stop chasing answers you may never receive. You stop demanding explanations for people who never intended to give them. You stop expecting closure from the same place that created the wound. Instead, you find something stronger. You find peace that doesn't depend on another person's apology. You realize God wasn't removing love from your life. He was removing everything that kept you from receiving it the right way. The trial wasn't there to convince God of your faith. He already knew your heart. What the real trial was was to reveal your heart to you. It showed you where fear was making decisions, where loneliness was speaking louder than wisdom, where you confused waiting with settling. Those lessons don't feel like blessings while you're living in them. But one day, you'll look back at the woman who begged God to save the relationship, and you'll quietly thank Him for saving you instead. Not because life became perfect, not because every prayer was answered the way you wanted, but because somewhere inside the disappointment, your faith became deeper than your feelings. And that's a different kind of freedom, one that no breakup can take away. So today, if you're asking God why He allowed your heart to break, maybe the better question isn't why. The better question is, what part of me is God trying to rebuild? Because one thing about God, He doesn't waste suffering. He shapes people with it. He strips away illusions with it. He teaches dependency through it. And sometimes the greatest act of love God ever gives you is refusing to let you keep something that would have kept you from becoming the woman He created you to be. One day you'll understand why the door closed. Until then, walk by faith. Not because the road is easy, but because the one leading you has never once lost his way.